Hello, my name is Duff, and today we'll be going over not Timmy squares. Not Timmy squares it's like the stepbrother in the squares family, and it's a pretty fun one, I do have to say. The way you can identify this is that there
This is the
is
story of a man named Stanley.
one square color will have four of them being lit, while the other ones have only three. So this one only has three, this one only has three, green only has three, yellow only has three, but magenta has four. The way we start this module is by clicking on any one of the squares whose color is equal to 4. So any one of these magentas will start it. As you can see, it's flashing, and the information we need to know is the colors adjacent to the flashing square. So, the colors adjacent to magenta is green and magenta. Duplicates are not allowed. So, well, not rather ignored. So had we clicked on this magenta, these two greens would just count as one. So what we do is we go to the magenta column, section, I guess, and we find the two colors that are adjacent. So in this case, we have green and magenta. If they are directly next to each other, so in this case, like they are right now, then we would press a color that is the opposite of these two. If they were to make it, if they were to make a triangle, we press the tip. So the green magenta would go to red. Had they not been next to each other, so let's say green and blue, you would press the one. You still press the tip. So, rather, the way to explain it better is you press the one in the middle. So in the middle of green and blue is magenta. But that's not the case. We have green and magenta, and the opposite of that is red. So that's obvious. We press any red. And I suggest you press it where there's a chain of the same color. Because the goal of this module is to convert the entire 4x4 into one color. But anyways, now we have, now we move to the next section where the flashing color is, to where the flashing color is. The flashing color is red, so we move to this grid. The ones adjacent to it are red, green, and magenta. Now, if we have red, green, and magenta, so these three, if all of them are right next to each other, so if green was over here instead, then we would use the two colors that were not used and and press the tip. So again, if green was over here, that means blue and yellow would be up here, and we press the tip, which is magenta. However, this is not the case. The current thing is they are all not connected. So what we do is we grab the two colors that are not adjacent, and we press the one in the middle. Well, in the middle of them. So in the middle of yellow and blue, that's going to be green. So we want to press a green. Next thing we have is a green square that's flashing, and it's next to green, blue, and magenta. So if green is next to blue, green, and magenta, we'd use the same condition as before. This time, however, they're all adjacent, since blue, green, and magenta are right here. So we use the opposite of the colors that are not used, so red and yellow, and we press that color. Next thing we have is just is all but blue. So we have a magenta flashing, and when you have four different colors flashing, different colors adjacent, you press the color that is not valid. That is not present. So blue is not present, so we press blue. One thing I should mention, by the way, that I forgot to mention at the start, which is very important, if the same color, if the valid color, so the color that we need to press, is the one that's flashing, we would go counterclockwise in the chart. So let's say in this scenario we need to press blue, blue is flashing. So let's say we need to press blue, we would go counterclockwise and have to press yellow. Obviously I'm not going to do that, so because that might strike us. And if you go 3 presses without a color change, well, without like the color spreading, then I think the color that's flashing will change colors. I think I'm correct. Honestly, it's just best to press the color that is right next to it, next to the flashing, so that it spreads faster. But anyways, we have blue, and next to blue is blue and green. So, blue and green, they are not touching, so we go into the middle of that to get yellow. Okay, next to yellow is yellow, green, and blue. We go to the yellow thing since it's flashing. Yellow, green, and blue, they are all adjacent. So we use the opposite of the ones not present, so red and magenta, and press yellow. However, since yellow is flashing, we go counterclockwise to blue. Another thing that I should mention, that I didn't mention along with the whole invalid color, is if the color is not present, you go counterclockwise as well. So yeah, there's that. So now we have blue, and next to blue is just blue. I forgot what to do with this one. Okay. With blue, there's only one adjacent, then we just go clockwise. So from blue, we go to red. So from blue to red, and since there's only one valid square to touch, we press that. And that is varicolored. Let's do a second example. This one should be nice. So, like before, we press any one of the four starting squares. So we start at the green section, and adjacent to green is magenta, green, and yellow. Magenta, green, and yellow are not all adjacent, so we use the one in the middle of red and blue. In the middle of red and blue is yellow, so we press yellow. Now yellow is flashing, and we have yellow and red adjacent. Yellow and red are not adjacent, so we press green. Green is not present, so we go counterclockwise to yellow. Yellow is flashing, so we go counterclockwise to blue. Okay, now we have blue flashing with magenta and blue. Shut up. Yep, blue flashing and magenta and blue. Magenta and blue are not adjacent to each other, so we're going to press red. Now we have red with just red by itself. If red is flashing, we go counterclockwise. Was it clockwise or counterclockwise? We go clockwise. So from red, we go to magenta. And this one's pretty simple from here. From magenta, we go to yellow.
This was exactly the way right now the things were meant to happen.
And that is varicolored squares. I hope you learned it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and get a job.